Danny Matthews here. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some conversation uh, topics, specifically the six deadly topics, or what you should not talk about at work. So, a lot to talk about with this, so we're going to get started with our first deadly topic. Okay, religion. If you are an ardent believer in a religion, that's great, but it isn't something you should discuss with your colleagues at work. Religion is an intensely private subject that should only be discussed outside of work. Even if you know that your colleagues are like minded, you run the risk of offending someone who overhears what you're talking about. Further, talking about religion can instigate needless debate that will keep everyone from doing their jobs. The company, as well as the employees, up to possible lawsuits and creates havoc where none needs to be. So, yeah, uh, we it's very important that we stick to work topics. If we are talking with other people or small talk, that's okay. Religion is going to potentially cause you a lot of problems. It can cause conflict with your coworkers, and it really definitely can distract people from getting their work done. And so, in order to stay in good standing as an employee, remember that you are free to pursue your faith outside of work as however you see fit. But at work, it's going to have to take a back seat. Okay, let's see what's next. Politics. Never preach about your beliefs to your coworkers. Everyone is into their own opinions, and you don't want to offend anyone. Secondly, politics is as personal and as hotly debated as religion, and it will distract from your work. Keep your political affiliation to yourself and concentrate on other matters. So, it's going to be tough, though, of course, at a time like this when we have a big national election coming up in the fall. And it seems that if you're watching the news, if they aren't talking about COVID 19, they're talking about the 2020 presidential and congressional and senatorial elections that are right around the corner. And it's just everywhere. And it's actually quite, I think, important for everyone to be politically aware, to get out there and educate themselves as much as possible, and to participate politically, to vote and do everything that you have the privileges to do in our society in order to voice heard. But when you get to work, it's it's got to stay outside at the door, so to speak. You can't bring that in there with you and try to say, uh, convince your coworkers that they should believe politically the way that you believe. Try to, or certainly don't say anything negative about anyone else's political affiliation. Don't talk negatively about any specific politician. It can just lead you into conflicts that just don't need to be there. It can cause people to form negative opinions about you. So you're really better off leaving politics as a topic out of the workplace. All right, let's see what's next. Romance. All right. So no one wants to hear about your love life. I guarantee it. Sex should never be a topic of discussion at work for two reasons. First, your partner probably wouldn't be happy that you're sharing intimate details of your sex life. And second, you might mention something about sex that makes another colleague feel uncomfortable. Even talking about sex or sexual preferences can be construed as sexual harassment, which is something you obviously want to avoid. Now, it's very important to remember that when you go to work, you're there in order to uh, contribute to your community, uh, to um, to be involved in society, to make money, of course, naturally, uh, and not specifically, you're not there to find a date. Uh, your soul. That sort of activity has to take place outside of work. And definitely, when you get to work, do not tell anyone about whatever's going on in your love life. It just isn't appropriate. And really, nobody wants to hear about it. And it's true for everyone that whatever's going on in their private life, it's probably not going to be interesting to anyone else. So, therefore, no one is really going to be interested or want to hear anything about yours either. So, you got to leave the romance outside of work. All right, let's see what's next. Family issues. All right. So, while it might be okay to talk family family vacation or to tell your coworkers about family vacations, do not share personal information about family members. Your relatives wouldn't appreciate it, and you'd be violating their privacy. Further, your colleagues have problems of their own with their own families and don't want to worry about yours. You'll notice the picture here is a family, a television family called the Addams Family, and the well, probably no one has a family quite that quirky, but we all have some quirks in our family, some things that maybe could be embarrassing to those family members, perhaps, if that information got out. And you're definitely violating their privacy. This becomes really important when, if you were to say share information about a family member about their health, then you could be violating their protected health information. But really, what it comes down to is think about how we all in our lives have made some mistakes, we've had setbacks, and would we really want our say sibling, our parent, cousin, whoever, to go to their workplace and tell their coworkers all about our failures or our problems? No, we wouldn't. It's just completely inappropriate. All right, let's go to the next one. Money, 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 money. Money, salary. All right. Never discuss salary at work. You might be making more or less than your coworker, and you don't want to start a wave of jealousy or anger. You also shouldn't talk about benefits, potential raises, or anything else work-related other than your specific job. If you're planning on leaving your company for a better job, keep it to yourself until you've handed in your resignation. You don't want things like that getting back to your boss, who probably wouldn't appreciate your big mouth. All right, so yeah, it's really considered in bad taste to talk about how much money you make. Don't talk about how you're going to go and buy something really fancy because you got a raise. That kind of stuff. It comes off as just kind of maybe arrogant or in bad taste. And remember that you could make someone feel bad because maybe they make less than you. On the other hand, it may turn out that that person makes more money than you, and you're going to look a little bit silly, maybe bragging about how much you make by comparison. So there's really no need to share any of that. If you want, say, a raise, or if you want better benefits or that kind of thing, there are ways to go about that, which we'll talk about later on in Project Search. But the way you don't do it is to just go around talking to your coworkers about. So got to leave that out of the workplace. Let's go to the next one. Health. Haven't you ever been in an office with someone who can't stop talking about his surgeries, his medications, and his urinary tract infections? Nobody wants to hear about your health problems, and they aren't your coworkers' business anyway. The only time you should discuss your health at work is if you need to tell your boss about why you require time off for health-related concerns. All right, and so I would add to that too. You can tell people if you are going to be off, like you can talk to your coworkers and say, hey, I'm going to be out of work this one afternoon or this one day. Just want to give you guys a heads up. And that's courteous to do that because maybe they can make some adjustments. Or maybe they won't worry about you or wonder what happened if you tell them ahead of time, hey, I'm going to be out, I got to take some personal time or whatever. But you don't need to give them any more information than that, really. That you are not required to tell your coworkers all the details about why you've got to go to some medical appointment. You may have to give some information to your supervisor or whoever does scheduling or whatever person's in authority in those areas, and tell them as much as they need to know and no more. So you can tell them, I have an important medical appointment coming up, and I need to have this time off if possible. You don't need to give them any more really than that, usually. So, all right. So just you leave that out of the workplace. Nobody wants to hear about it.